cruise line brand ambassador got personally threatened over a loyalty program, and passengers already gave the whole thing a nickname, and it's brutal. Vanishing incentives for passengers. That's what's happening to Carnival's VIFP club right now, and if you've ever sailed Carnival more than once, this affects you directly, whether you know it yet or not. Carnival isn't updating VIFP, they're ending it. The program that's existed since 2012, the one that made a decade of loyalty actually mean something, is being replaced by something called Carnival Rewards. And depending on one email you might have already ignored, you either sail through this completely fine, or you watch years of status disappear. I'm giving you the whole story today. Where this came from, why the backlash got genuinely ugly, the one piece of proof Carnival wasn't lying about why they did it, and exactly what you need to do before the deadline hits, broken down by your tier. Stick around, because the deadline part at the end is the part that actually touches your wallet. Let's get into it. The Golden Age of VIFP. Okay, so to understand why grown adults are threatening a man named John over a loyalty card, you have to understand what VIFP actually was. VIFP stands for Very Important Fun Person. Yes, that's a real, official acronym. Somewhere in Miami in 2012, a marketing team pitched that in a meeting and everyone nodded like it was completely normal. Goofy name, but underneath it was the simplest system in travel. You cruise, you earn a point. 1 point per day at sea. No spreadsheet, no wondering if your onboard margaritas secretly counted for something. Nights sailed. Done. 5 tiers stacked on top of that, and they read like a video game leveling system. Blue, where everyone starts. Red by your second sailing. Gold at 25 points. Platinum at 75, and then Diamond, the final boss, at 200. Here's the number. People skip right past. 200 points isn't 200 cruises, it's 200 nights at sea. On standard week-long trips, that's roughly 29 separate vacations. 29. That's not a hobby, that's a personality trait. Years of saving up, planning around work schedules, dragging the family along, all because you trusted the status you were stacking up would actually stick. And for over a decade, it did. Diamond was lifetime. Hit it once, it's yours forever. No renewal. No fine print, no, actually never mind, 3 years later. Carnival treated it like an actual promise. The perks scaled right up with it, and I want to run through these, because it shows you exactly how much some people had riding on this. Red got you a free 1.5-liter water bottle in your cabin. Cute, not life-changing. Gold got you a collectible pin every sailing, plus 1 free drink on longer cruises. Platinum is where it got genuinely good. Priority boarding, which on a chaotic embarkation day buys you back a real hour of your life, plus priority spa reservations, which matter enormously when the good time slots vanish in the first 10 minutes of boarding. And Diamond got the full treatment. Guaranteed dining time, so no awkward 8:45 seating. Unlimited free laundry for the entire cruise, which on a longer sailing is genuinely hundreds of dollars back in your pocket. And actual invitations to events hosted by the ship's captain, which regular passengers never get near. So that's the world people built their loyalty inside of for over a decade. A status that meant something and never expired. Then, in June of 2025, Carnival blew the whole thing up. The announcement that broke the internet. June 18th, 2025. Carnival drops a press release, and it reads exactly like every corporate announcement ever written. New program. Cruise industry first. Personalized perks. All the buzzwords that mean absolutely nothing until you get to the part that actually matters. The new program, they said, would be called Carnival Rewards. Buried in there was the sentence that ruined everyone's week. Loyalty was no longer about nights sailed. It was about money spent. If you're the kind of cruiser who ground out platinum or diamond the old-fashioned way, here's the part that stings. Under the new math, someone who books one fancy suite once and spends big at the bar can leapfrog a person who's done 30 modest cruises over a decade. The entire point of the program flipped upside down overnight, and there was a second gut punch nobody saw coming. Lifetime status, gone. Under Carnival Rewards, your tier resets every 2 years. Don't requalify, and you get demoted, like a video game character losing a level for not logging in enough. People who'd spent literal decades climbing to Diamond found out their status now had an expiration date, and nobody had asked them how they felt about it. Cruise critic forums exploded into threads dozens of pages deep. Facebook groups turned into a wall of screenshots and outrage. And somewhere in all that noise, passengers did what angry crowds online always eventually do. Somebody took the acronym VIFP and rebranded the whole thing. They started calling Carnival Rewards, and I love this, vanishing incentives for passengers. I laughed out loud the first time I read that. It's mean, it's clever, and it tells you everything about how betrayed people felt in one sentence. One post really stuck with me while I was going through all this. A cruiser wrote, and I'm quoting this close to word for word, "I invested in Carnival, so they could invest in me as a loyal cruiser over many years. They've now decided that years of loyalty mean nothing. So, goodbye Carnival, and just remember, this breakup is on you. Who else is moving on?" That's not a customer service complaint. That's a full breakup letter. That man deserves a record deal. And it wasn't just the big structural stuff either. Some of the pettier fights tell you just as much. At one point, John Heald mentioned getting a furious message from a platinum guest who'd somehow been charged for drinking the complimentary water bottle sitting in their own cabin. Turns out that free bottle isn't guaranteed on every stateroom the way it used to be, and suddenly one $4 bottle of water became a stand-in for an entire generation's fear that Carnival was coming for everything, one tiny perk at a time. Then it got genuinely dark. Heald, who runs Carnival's massive Facebook page and fields passenger questions basically all day, every day, got personally threatened over this. Not just yelled at online, threatened. And in a moment I still can't quite believe actually happened, he had to publicly call out a passenger who'd bragged to him about a plan to do something deliberately spiteful on their actual upcoming cruise, purely as protest. A grown adult, plotting revenge, against cruise staff who have zero say in corporate loyalty policy. Somewhere out there is a guy who thought, I'll show them, and the them was a bartender named Dave who just wants to make it through his shift. By mid-2025, Carnival didn't have a customer service problem anymore. They had a mutiny on their hands. If you're finding this whole mess as entertaining as I am, that's what the like button is for. All right, keep going, because it's about to get a little more sympathetic to Carnival, believe it or not. The one piece of proof Carnival wasn't just making it up. In the middle of all this yelling, Carnival kept repeating one specific excuse, and I actually want to check whether it holds up, because it's easy to assume a giant corporation is just spinning nonsense. Carnival's president, Christine Duffy, said the old system had become unsustainable because too many cruisers had climbed to the top. Translation: if half the ship is platinum or diamond, priority boarding stops being a perk and just becomes the regular line with extra steps. Normally, I'd roll my eyes at that. Except this time, they've got a receipt. Carnival sent warning emails to platinum members ahead of certain March 2026 sailings, including one on the Carnival Miracle, flat out telling them that priority boarding and early stateroom access might not be available on that specific cruise. Not because Carnival felt like being stingy, because there were too many high-status members booked on that one sailing to actually deliver the perk to everyone who'd technically earned it. And it happened more than once, multiple sailings. Carnival's most loyal cruisers being told in an email that the status they'd spent years building might functionally do nothing on this particular trip because too many other loyal people had the exact same idea. One cruiser actually defended Carnival on this better than Carnival's own PR department managed to. They wrote, "If everyone has platinum status, no one does. I don't understand why people don't get that. They had to change it." It got to a point where some cruises were mostly platinum and diamond members. They could not provide the perks for those cruises. It's basically the loyalty program version of everyone in class getting a participation trophy. At some point, the trophy stops meaning you did something special and just means you showed up. So yes, the anger was fair. The rollout was clumsy, the communication was worse, and nobody likes finding out their status has a use-by date, but the trophy problem underneath it, that part was real. This isn't even a Carnival problem. Here's the thing, almost nobody in the angry comment sections mentioned, and it's the most important context in the whole story. Carnival didn't invent this. They're just the first cruise line brave or reckless enough to actually try it. Spend-based loyalty is old news everywhere except cruising. Airlines went through this exact fight years ago, ditching simple miles flown for dollars spent, and it caused nearly identical meltdowns at the time. Hotels did it too. Cruising is just the last major travel category still running on the old honor system, and Carnival decided to go first, which means this almost certainly isn't staying a Carnival-only story. Royal Caribbean cruisers, people who don't even sail Carnival, were watching this whole thing with visible anxiety, not popcorn. Royal's own loyalty program, Crown and Anchor, still runs on the same simple nights-sailed model VIFP used to. A lot of loyal Royal cruisers are watching this specifically to see if Carnival gets away with it, because if it works, their own program could be next. One Royal Caribbean loyalist practically wrote Royal's own leadership a warning shot. They said, "In my opinion, what Carnival did is an insult to everyone who has been loyal. So no, if Royal went that route, I would not be loyal to them anymore." And then, almost pleading with their own cruise line, "I very much hope Royal realizes that by having the best loyalty program in the industry, they would have the most to lose by making drastic changes to Crown and Anchor." So if you sail more than one cruise line, this isn't just a Carnival story you can shrug off. This is the industry's live experiment, and every loyalty department at every other cruise line is taking notes. What Carnival actually walked back? Here's where it gets interesting, because Carnival didn't just shove the original plan through with their fingers in their ears. Under real, sustained pressure, they backed off a bunch of it, some of it meaningfully. The big one. Diamond status was originally set to reset like everything else. After the backlash, Carnival completely reversed course. Anyone who hits Diamond by August 31st, 2026, the literal last day of VIFP, keeps it for life. Forever. Plus a guarantee locking that in through December 31st, 2032, before re-qualifying even enters the conversation. Platinum members got a softer landing, if not quite as sweet a deal. If you're Platinum at the cutoff, your status holds through the end of 2028, and Carnival added a status boost, dropping 10,000 status qualifying stars into your account every 2 years, giving Platinum members roughly a 20% head start on re-qualifying under the new system. Another participation trophy, except this one comes with real value attached. The launch date itself got pushed back, twice. Originally June 1st, 2026, now September 1st, 2026. Specifically so, your entire summer 2026 sailing season counts toward your final VIFP status before the system flips. One last lap under the old simple rules. They also cleared up a point that had a lot of parents confused. Because of privacy laws around minors, kids can't be auto-enrolled the same way adults are. They'll just mirror whichever parent's status is on the booking, which sounds small but stopped a lot of legitimate panic in family cruiser circles. And the tier list itself shrank. VIFP had 5 tiers, Blue through Diamond. Carnival Rewards only has 4. Blue quietly disappears, and every current Blue member gets bumped straight to Red the moment they enroll, so nobody starts at the very bottom the way first-timers used to. None of this fully satisfied everyone, and there are still plenty of cruisers who'll tell you the core problem, that loyalty now runs on dollars instead of days, never got fixed. That's a fair opinion to hold. But it's also true this wasn't a company that announced something once and refused to blink. The yelling changed the outcome, more than once. How do you actually earn status now? Before we get to your action plan, let's talk about how this new system works day to day, because spend more, earn more is a nice slogan, but it doesn't tell you anything useful on its own. Under Carnival Rewards, you earn 3 status qualifying stars and 3 rewards points for every single dollar you spend on qualifying Carnival purchases. And qualifying is more generous than you might expect. It's not just your cruise fare. It's onboard extras, specialty dining, drink packages, spa treatments, even casino play. If you're handing Carnival money in any form while you're near a ship, it's probably counting towards something. Then, there's the part that got its own headline treatment. Carnival is rolling out a co-branded Carnival Rewards MasterCard through Barclays, and using that card for everyday purchases, groceries, gas, your Wi-Fi bill, whatever, also earns you points toward your cruise status. Which means, in theory, you could build diamond-adjacent status without ever setting foot on a boat between sailings, purely by using the right credit card at the grocery store. That's a wild sentence to say out loud, but that's the model now. It's the same trick airlines have been running with co-branded cards for 20 years, just finally showing up in cruising. Now, the stars determine your tier, and the points are a separate currency you can spend on things like shore excursions, spa treatments, specialty dining, even future cruises. 2 different systems, tracked separately, both filling up every time you swipe. It's more moving parts than 1 point per night, sure, but it's also a lot more ways to earn something, especially if you're not someone who can realistically sail 29 times to hit Diamond the old way. And here's where the math gets fun, because we can work out exactly what these tiers cost now. Gold kicks in at 10,000 status qualifying stars. Platinum at 50,000. Diamond at 100,000. At 3 stars per dollar spent, that works out to roughly $3,334 in spending for gold, about $16,667 for platinum, and around $33,334 for diamond. Remember earlier when I said diamond used to mean 29 separate 7-night cruises? Now it means roughly $33,000, however you want to spend it. One big suite and a lot of specialty dining and drink packages could theoretically get you there faster than 3 decades of budget cruising ever could. Whether that feels fair to you probably depends entirely on which one of those two people you are. What you need to do, based on your tier. All right, here's the part that matters for your specific status, so let's go slow, and let's go tier by tier so you can jump straight to yours. 2 things apply to everyone first. The VIFP Club ends August 31st, 2026. Carnival Rewards takes over the very next day. Whatever your status is at the close of business on the 31st is exactly what carries into the new system. And here's the one thing that trips people up more than anything else in this entire story. Your status does not transfer automatically. Carnival emailed VIFP members a button that says, "Enroll and accept," and you have to physically click it before launch day. Skip that, and your status and your accumulated days sailed just don't come with you. You lose years of loyalty, not because Carnival snatched it away, but because a button sat unclicked in an inbox. I want to say that twice because forums are full of people who believed this happened automatically. It does not. If you have any VIFP status at all, go check your account right now and confirm you've enrolled. Don't assume, go look. Now, by tier. Diamond already? Congratulations, you're in the best seat in the house. Enroll before the deadline and your status is locked in for life, guaranteed through at least 2032. The panic that hit Diamond members initially has been resolved by Carnival's own walkbacks. Just don't forget to click the button. Platinum? You're in solid shape too, extended through 2028 with that periodic star boost helping you requalify later. But if you're anywhere close to that 200-point diamond line and you've got even a little flexibility, this is your last real shot to cross it under the easy, old-school, nights sailed math. People are calling this an ocean run, the cruise version of an airline mileage run, where you book a trip purely to push yourself over a threshold before the rules change underneath you. If diamond's within reach, now's the moment. Gold, red, or brand new to all this. You might come out ahead here, and I mean that. You're stepping into a system that rewards spending faster than the old model ever rewarded new cruisers. You don't have decades of status to protect, but you also won't be waiting years for the perks to feel real. Go in with an open mind instead of assuming it's automatically worse, because for a lot of newer cruisers, it isn't, and no matter your tier, going forward, keep an eye on your specific sailing. We already know Carnival will send a heads up if a cruise is overloaded with high-status guests. If perks matter to your trip, it's worth a quick check before you sail, at least while both systems are still shaking themselves out. So, here's where this leaves us. VIFP, the program that made Carnival cruisers feel like their loyalty meant something for over a decade, ends August 31st. Carnival Rewards, the replacement, runs on a completely different philosophy, spending instead of time at sea, and mostly just catches cruising up to where airlines and hotels already went years ago. The backlash was real, it got ugly, a man named John got threatened over a loyalty program. But it also worked, in the sense that Carnival visibly softened this thing multiple times because people refused to shut up about it. Wherever you land on whether this is a fair modernization or a slap in the face, the practical reality is identical for everyone watching. Hard deadline, active enrollment required, and depending on your tier, maybe one last shot to lock in something better under the old rules. If this helped you make sense of what's happening, that's exactly what this channel's for. Hit like, subscribe if you haven't, and if you made it all the way to the end, drop cruise for you in the comments so I know you stuck it out for the whole story. I read every single one. See you in the next one.